You are watching KAVU 25 News Now weekends at 5:30.
Good afternoon and thank you for joining us. I am Amaya Norman. Polling equipment from Texas early voting centers is being monitored via live stream until Tuesday, when memory drives will be removed and counted. The early voting period closed Friday after 2 weeks of ballot casting, with long lines at many polling places available to register voters in their home counties. As of Friday, over 40% of registered voters in Texas had cast their ballots, compared to 57% in the 2020 election, which had 18 days of early voting due to the pandemic, versus 12 days this year. Election officials expected a higher turnout on Election Day than in 2020. Don't be alarmed if you start seeing giant robot spiders using artificial intelligence climbing up the side of official office buildings. They're only there to watch the windows.
It's not a bird or plane these people are watching at this high-rise building in uptown Dallas.
We have the vertical robot unit, which is the robot that you see that is walking on the building, some kind of a Spider-Man, and the cleaning device.
This window cleaning robot has a name, Ibex. It's named after the gravity-defying goats that climbed up mountains.
So we combine a lot of AI, algorithm, vision, and different sensors to actually build and simplify this environment, to make it very easy.
The robots have onboard cameras that will scan the window, look for window panels, and then work over those to make sure no spots are missed.
You don't need to put anyone at risk. You get a lot of data.
The robots vertically climb buildings, reducing the risk of humans cleaning windows, although a single person is still involved.
We call it more of a babysitter, but on the operator perspective, he has the tablet. You just press a button and the robot knows exactly what it needs to do.
Robotics CEO Ido Genesar says the robots are already in Asia and the Middle East.
Right, when we're talking with landlords from the U.S.
Gattaca hosted the U.S. release in Dallas.
We've decided to Texas because we believe that today it's one of the fastest growing states here in the U.S. and we've seen the demand here in the market.
Ibex also inspects buildings and lets landlords know where issues may arise.
It doesn't make sense that people are still doing the same thing as they did 60, 70 years ago.
It's technology taking North Texas into the 21st century, one AI robot at a time. In Dallas, Dawn White, CBS News, Texas.
Police in New York City are facing a dangerous trend among young people, subway surfing. This risk stunt, which involves riding on top of a moving subway car, has gained popularity on social media. Tragically, 6 people have died this year, including a 13-year-old girl killed in Queens last Sunday. Officers have arrested over 180 individuals related to this activity and launched a new ad campaign with a crucial message: subway surfing kills, ride inside and stay alive. Now it is time to talk weather on this Sunday afternoon. Let's check in with our first warm storm team meteorologist Trey Mining to see what the rest of our week will look like. Trey?
Yes, good evening, Amaya. Cloudy skies you see in around the Crossroads region. Currently, this is a live view from the Victoria College, and current temperature 82 degrees. Feels like 86 on the outside with a little bit of humidity in play and a little bit of wind here and there. Humidity is going to be an important factor for us coming up through the day tomorrow, with thunderstorms likely coming on through tomorrow with the cold front, and then a bit of a cool down. Also talking about the tropics, which are still active. We'll talk about that coming up later in the full forecast. Amaya?
Thank you, Trey. In a chilling Halloween night incident, gunfires erupted at a mall in Portland, leaving 1 person dead and 2 injured.
In this harrowing Nest video, you can hear shots fired on Halloween night at Vancouver Mall. When Vancouver police say a suspect who was wearing a Halloween-type mask shot fire, killing 1 and injuring 2.
How many kids, that was their first Halloween, and they'll probably be traumatized for like the rest of their life.
That's 16-year-old Bronwyn Cruden. She works at Twisted Escape Rooms. You can see her in this video. After shots were fired, she locked the door shut. Through the glass, you can see families running for their lives.
As I was going to the back, a family was trying to get into the store. So I went back up to the front and unlocked it for them, got them in. They went straight to the back of my store like they were they knew what they were doing. They were out of there. Their kids were crying.
Here's that emotional moment where Cruden heroically helped people escape the mall.
I don't know if I would call myself like a hero for sure. Like everybody keeps saying that.
She knew she should shelter in place, but she got up to let them in anyway. The stories at Vancouver Mall showing what incredible things people are able to do in times of distress. One man jumping from the second floor to the first floor just to escape.
I was like so freaked out that I just I kind of first started hanging, and then I kind of jumped down and just started running. I had too much adrenaline, so I didn't really feel anything. I just started running.
Brianne Stoner knows the feeling. She was just trying to take her niece out trick-or-treating.
We saw a bunch of people running towards us, a lot of terrified mothers pulling their children along. And all I could think is, we need to run.
She took her family and ran into hiding behind the mall, sprinting through the parking lot and aiming to hide in the bushes.
One of the residents of the apartments behind us was really sweet to let us through into the gated area, and we just kind of hid out there for a while.
While people were certainly shaken up, they were all grateful that they at least got to make it out alive.
Tanvi Verma, K2 News.
Texans have faced higher home prices and rents aim the state's economic boom. And housing experts say the state needs to build a lot more homes to rein in those costs. To read this full Texas Tribune article, visit our website, Crossroads Today. Now, this brings us to our viewer poll for today. What local issue do you think needs more attention? Housing, homelessness, public safety, and crimes, education, and schools. So far, for housing and homeless, we have 8%, public safety and crimes, 55%, and education and schools, 37%. We want to hear from you. You come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to participate. We'll have the latest result on 25 News Now at 10. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 5:30. Election Day looms. Activists rally for women's rights and stronger democracy aims high stakes.
Let's take a review of the day here. Almanac, 89 degrees was the high in Victoria today officially. Low 72, which is above normal for our high and low. Definitely way above normal for our low and high combined. No rain as of yet. Rain chances on the rise. And these temperatures will be going down a bit. We'll give you the details coming up in your full forecast.
We're now just 2 days away from election, and there are several states still left in the balance. 25 News Now reporter Trenton Whiting is here to break down what states took a look at for it. Trent.
Amaya, thank you. Behind me is a map courtesy of NBC showing the current projections for how each state might swing during the Tuesday election. Now, what I'm going to be breaking down is the attendance numbers for registered Republicans and registered Democrats in those swing states. We're going to start over here out west. We're going to go to Nevada and Arizona. In Nevada, just over 1 million voters participated during the early voting period, and that was going to be good for 6 electoral votes depending on who wins it. About 38% 61% of those early voters were registered Republicans, and about 34% were registered Democrats. So a little bit of an edge for the Republicans in Nevada. Same could be said in Arizona here, as about 42% of those voters were registered Republicans and only 33% are registered Democrats. So it's still going to be a little bit close. You can see those margins don't really tell us everything as they're just attendance numbers, but as it seems, Republicans definitely have an edge in attendance in those western states. So we're going to take a trip over to the Midwest. We're going to start in Wisconsin and Michigan. I'm sure that you've heard a lot about those states in the recent cycle, recent weeks, but it's a reason for it. It's going to be a big deal in those states, as we've got 11 electoral votes in Wisconsin and about 15 electoral votes in Michigan. And over 1.5 million voters in Wisconsin, we've got 26% of them as registered Republicans and about 34% of them as registered Democrats. Over in Michigan, we've got 46% as registered Democrats and 43% of those voters being registered Republicans. So very close. You can see why they call it a swing state, because there's no way to tell how it's going to go so far. One thing I will give to you as a note, in Wisconsin, about 40% of those are not registered in Republican or Democratic voters. So we'll really have to wait till Tuesday to figure out what's going on in Wisconsin. But we'll have to wait till Tuesday for all of these results, as, you know, again, these are just attendance numbers. But while we're speaking on it, we're going to go out east over to Pennsylvania. We'll see who's feeling the brotherly love out there. And we've got about 57% of those early voters being Democrat voters and about 33% of them being Republican voters. Now, that's a big state, as about 19 electoral votes will go to that 270 number that both candidates are going to need if they want to win the election. So that's going to be a big state right now. The Democrats are feeling the brotherly love in Pennsylvania. We'll take a trip down to North Carolina, where about 32% of, it's very even, 32% of early voters are Democratic registered voters and 33% are registered Republicans. It's also even for neither side, as 35% didn't register as a Republican or a Democrat. We're going to go a little bit south over down here to Georgia, as about 45% of the early voters were registered Democrats and about 48% were registered Republicans. So not a lot of voters not choosing either side. It's basically a decision that they made. Again, we don't have any results from how these elections went. We just know the attendance of how many registered Republicans and Democrats came out to the polls. But while we're talking about it, we got to talk about the home state, Texas. As you can see on the map, it's a little bit of a lighter red. It's maybe not as firmly GOP as some of these other red states, but they still had about 9 million voters and a majority Republican registered voters, as 50% of those voters were registered Republicans and only 37% of registered Democrats. Here in Victoria County, we had nearly 26,000 voters vote in early voting, and it's obviously going to play a big part in that Tuesday election. We'll have all those updates and results for you on Tuesday for this historic election. Amaya, back to you.
Thank you, Trenton, for giving us an update on the election. With election days fast approaching, the stakes have never been higher. Voices are raising across the nation, urging citizens to make their voice heard.
This election has never been more important.
The stakes are high as the country is one step closer to Election Day.
Sick. Yeah, it could go any way. It could go any way. And it's very scary.
Naomi Dietrich is the founder of Snohomish County Indivisible, a nonpartisan organization she formed in 2016, advocating for a strong democracy. Her organization planned this Women's March Saturday afternoon in the heart of Everett. It's one of more than 200 marches nationwide, sharing this sentiment.
We need to get people to the polls. We need to make sure that those people that believe in a woman's right to protect her own body stays here in Washington and across the country.
A handful of local elected officials spoke to a crowd of a little more than 200 people. They then marched throughout the city with women's rights at the forefront, in particular codifying Roe v. Wade.
We need it across the country so women across the country feel safe. You know, feel like they have the right to decide what is right for them.
And I love America, and I love this country, and I love the people of it. Sometimes people make decisions I don't agree with, but I'm not going to abandon what I love, and that's our country.
That's James Todd marching with this group today, hoping people do their civic duty come Tuesday and vote.
Don't let anybody tell you who to vote for. Vote with your heart, vote for what's right.
In Everett, Brady Wakayama, King 5 News.
A judge in Georgia has rejected an attempt by Republicans to block voters from dropping off their mail-in ballots in person to election office in Fulton County this weekend. Election officers' office in Fulton County are open this weekend as Republicans filed a lawsuit to stop voters from dropping off their ballots. Fulton County, a Democratic stronghold that includes most of Atlanta, represents 11% of the state's voters. At least 5 other Democratic-leaning counties are also keeping their office open. A judge dismissed the GOP argument, a giant ballot drop-off after early voting ended, citing state's law allowing absentee ballots to be collected until polls close on Election Day. With the election days away, both candidates are spending time in key battleground states. This is also over 73 million Americans have already cast their vote.
With the election 2 days away, Vice President Harris and former President Trump are making their final pitches to voters. The election generating massive early voter turnout, with more than 73 million Americans already casting their ballots. On Saturday, both candidates visiting battleground North Carolina. Harris speaking to voters in Charlotte.
I am not looking to score political points. I am looking to make progress.
Former President Trump holding an afternoon rally in Gastonia before heading to Greensboro.
And we can't take a chance of losing the great state of North Carolina. We're not going to lose the great state of North Carolina.
Trump won North Carolina in 2020 by about 75,000 votes. Polls show this race is another dead heat. Today, the former president will be in Kinston, North Carolina, as well as Georgia and Pennsylvania. Vice President Harris will be in Michigan. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News, New York.
And the weather beginning to get more exciting, I guess you could say. Definitely more active is probably the best word. We're starting tomorrow with a severe weather risk, especially for Oklahoma, northern Texas, us around here, and marginal risk of severe weather Monday into your Tuesday morning as the front moves on through. How much rain can we expect? And what's going on in the tropics? It's still active out there. I'll give you the details coming up in the full forecast. Good evening, everyone, and happy Sunday, of course. And we have a severe weather risk for tomorrow afternoon into early on your day Tuesday, courtesy of a front moving on through during that time. It's a marginal risk of severe weather, the smallest risk on the chart, but it's still a risk nonetheless, so please keep heads about that. We'll keep you updated as the day goes on. This is along a cold front you see right here, currently in western Texas, firing off a good line of thunderstorms from near areas near Abilene, north of Dallas-Fort Worth into Oklahoma. Continuing to bring some severe weather up there. It's slowly sinking toward us to give us a rain chance and a severe weather chance coming up for late tomorrow into your day on Tuesday. So keep weather aware. We'll keep you updated, of course. And what I want you to notice is the temperatures. Well, by 6 p.m., which pretty much we're at that right now, feeling like the upper 80s as we go throughout the rest of the time period. And the overnight starting off in the 60s or so, another warm day for your day on your Tuesday and Monday into your Tuesday. But look at this by Tuesday with high temperatures. And the feel like temperature only is in 60s and 70s, courtesy of the front. The move through brings a little bit of cool air. Well, you thought that hurricane season was over? Nope, it's still going. November is one of the hurricane season months, and we have something to watch here in the Caribbean Sea. Give you a frame of reference here. There's the Yucatan right here, Central America. This is the system right here, very disorganized, South America right here. But it has the potential to get better organized and still have warm water in the Caribbean Sea. Headed toward The Gulf of Mexico looks like it could be toward the end of the week. It's kind of a slow mover. Maybe Category 1 hurricane. Looks like it'll mainly be well west of the Texas area, courtesy of that front, and high pressure that'll keep it to the east of our area here. We'll keep watching, of course. Just a reminder that hurricane season is still going through the month of November, so keep that in mind as we'll see that storm moving on through, but not anywhere near us. Looks like it'll be well to the east of our area here. Cuero, how's it looking? Tomorrow, a little bit of wind in the afternoon, well throughout the entire day actually, coming from the south. With sunny to partly cloudy skies. Highs in the upper 80s to near 90. Still another hot day anticipated. Port Lavaca, a little bit of wind as well with partly cloudy skies. High temperatures in the 80s to just shy of 90 degrees. Victoria as well, a few clouds in the morning time and popping through the rest of the time period as well. Maybe an isolated rain shower somewhere in the area coming up tomorrow afternoon. Better rain chances coming up for you Monday night into your day on Tuesday right here. We'll keep about a 70% chance in for your early morning on your Tuesday. A possible alert day with a marginal risk of severe weather on that day. And then we'll clear out. And the front moves back as a warm front coming in for Thursday and Friday, bring the temperatures back a little bit with a slight rain chance about Thursday and Friday as well. Weekend looking nice. High temperatures a little bit cooler. 70s for highs. Yeah, we'll take that on your Tuesday and Wednesday with lows in the 50s coming up for your Wednesday. Warming up a little bit toward the end of the week. A little more humidity coming up by Friday as well. Take a look at this. This is the QR code. Get your smartphone. Scan the code you see right there. They'll take you to a web page where you can download our app, News, Weather, and Sports. At your fingertips, very easy, convenient, and it's free of charge to use and be connected with us. We got Ray Robinson over there with the sports.
Thank you, Trey. The Week 11 AP poll is here. Texas A&M fresh off their loss against South Carolina. See where they land and more coming up in sports. The MMA event known as Tapper Scrap made its return to Victoria this past weekend. We got to see several guys from Victoria participate in the event. A notable face you might know is Jaden Williams. We talked with him yesterday when he was in his coach mode for the Victoria Gators, but Friday night was a different story. He delivered a knockout in the first round. This match was on the main card against Joshua Swift at the Victoria Community Center. Yesterday was full of upsets in the state of Texas for college football, starting off with Houston beating Kansas State. K-State being a juggernaut in the Big 12 and ranked 22 in the AP poll. Houston wins, final score 24-19. And although yesterday's upset was against Kansas State, the city of Victoria was represented well. There you see Coach Buddy Wyatt for K-State. He's a defensive lineman coach for the Wildcats. Wyatt, a Victoria native, attending school at Stroman at the time. And on to the next upset, but unfortunately it wasn't in favor for the Aggies, taking on South Carolina in what many thought should have been a winnable game, right? Furthest thing from the truth, any given day a team can lose. Lenoris Seller finished with 244 yards and 2 touchdowns. Amari Daniels led the Aggies in rushing with 83 yards, and Marcel Reed had 206 yards thrown, but Aggies wasn't able to pull it off, losing to South Carolina, final score 44-20. And with yesterday's big loss, that pushes Texas A&M all the way to the 15th spot. Falling 5 places down, Notre Dame is now number 10 after previously being number 8. It's also important to note that Texas went up after their bye week as they are now number 5. The Aggies will play New Mexico in their next game at home. Which brings me to your Sunday sports viewer poll. The Aggies' next 2 games could be winnable. And with those 2 games alone, can the A&M make it back to the top 10? And let's see, we got 75% that says yes, 25% is unsure. Make sure you keep them votes coming on in. We'll have the final results for that in the 10 p.m. newscast. And on to the NFL, Cowboys taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta going into this game 5-3. After Dallas makes a field goal, Kirk Cousins leads the drive. And a 1st and goal, Drake London finishes the drive with a 9-yard touchdown. The Falcons would follow up with an excellent defensive series as they stop CeeDee Lamb on the sweep, taking him all the way back on the 4th down. Cowboys would lose that game. Final score 27-21. Prescott and Cooper Rush both shared the field as quarterbacks, both throwing 100+ yards apiece. Wrapping things up with some NBA, Steph Curry is out indefinitely as the Warriors took on the Houston Rockets last night. The Warriors looked to take in control early on in the game. The Rockets were down 15 towards the end of the 1st quarter, but the Rockets were able to come back and push things into overtime. And the veteran leadership took over in favor of the Warriors, which saw them walk away with the victory. Final score 127-121. Jabari Smith Jr. led the Rockets in scoring with 21 points apiece. And that does it for your sports. Amaya?
Thank you, Ray. Stay with us. Coming up, we want to initiate you to experience our new digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. We want to invite you to experience our new digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can find it on your connected TV through Amazon, Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, and Android TV. Just search Crossroads Today Plus. Do you prefer a simple peanut butter and jelly sandwich or a triple dicker club? Either way, it's time to celebrate that lunchtime staple. November 3rd, which is Sunday, is National Sandwich Day. The history of sandwich isn't exactly clear, but it is believed that it was named after John Montego. He was the 4th Earl of Sandwich. According to legends, he loved gambling so much that he didn't want to leave the card table. As a result, he will ask his servants to just bring him a slice of meat between the bread. His friends then reportedly started to ask for the same sandwich, and the sandwich was born. You can celebrate the day by enjoying a sandwich with a friend and share it on social media using the hashtag National Sandwich Day. sandwich. He was gambling and wanted a sandwich.
What do you know? It's amazing how things come together like that.
Even though I love sandwiches myself, though.
Sandwiches are good. You get shrimp sandwiches or corned beef or no telling what else.
Sandwiches.
Po' boy sandwich.
Sausage and egg sandwiches.
No, we
It's
crazy
just
sandwiches.
endless in varieties. Okay, let's take a look at tomorrow. Most of the day is going to be rather quiet, except toward the end of the day in the early morning hours on Tuesday when thunderstorms rolling on through. We got an alert day for that period of time, by the way, for March risk of severe weather. Cooler by Tuesday and Wednesday.
Well, thank you so much for the weather, Trey. And thank you for joining us. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Have a great week.